Easter is one of the most fabulous holidays because it's the time when we actually remember the beautiful demonstration that Jesus Christ gave to the planet. We walk in it all the time. We meditate, we follow his teachings, we try to walk in the path of love. Yes? And as metaphysical Christians, this is our job. This is what we do. And at Easter, it gives us an opportunity to remember. That's why I like the songs that remind us of the story that we have inherited. And I heard one of the scholars say recently that they recorded more about the last week of Jesus' life than they did his whole journey, because the last week was so important and memorable not only to his followers but to the world. Something that had never been seen before was being done. And we live in the energy of the benefit of that gift, the breadth of that gift, and we too have more to learn and understand about it. So Easter is for us a time of renewal and a time of resurrection, to renew our own connection and awareness with Spirit, and to resurrect our identity in the world. We all know we're children of God, yes? Do you know you're a child of God next Tuesday? Next Friday? Good, good. This is where we want to be. We want to be holding the energy throughout our lives that we are children of God, even in those moments when the world would tell us otherwise. All right. In the world at that time, they clung to Jesus' demonstration because it was the one thing that connected mankind with God. It was the one thing that was visible. This is the thing that couldn't be disputed. The world had seen it. And there was so much more than just what the world saw. There was a beautiful energy. So as we go into the story of it, I wanted to remind us. So he knew his life was coming to a close. Everything had been set in order. The people and the events were all ready. Everybody was going to play their part. Do you realize that? Everybody played their part. Even the villains of the story, those that we would not have wanted their role, Caiaphas, and those that stood in persecution of Jesus at the trials, we wouldn't have raised our hand in volunteering for that role. But they were there. The role was being played. So, while we look at the stage having been set, let's first go back and look at how he defined the Christ. Remember, he told us that everyone is a son of God by birth, but not every man is a son of God by faith. Those who do the will of God, those who listen to God and love God, are the sons of God by faith. So all of us are born with that innate Christ spirit within us, son of God. But until we awaken to the knowing of it, do we really live it? All of you have seen people, even on the earth today, whose light is out. You've seen them? And there's no light shining. And then you can walk into a complete stranger's eyes and see that they are alive with God love. It doesn't matter what faith they are. It doesn't matter how they practice their religion, but you can see they're alive. The Christ within them is shining. And it's your brother, isn't it? When you see that light, it's like, yeah, we're awake together. So, he was the beginning of waking us up. He taught us the Father was within, God is within, and he taught us that the gateway to the Father within is the Christ. The divinity in you is the gateway to God within you. Do you hear? That divinity in you, the Christ in you, is the connection to God. That is Son. Christ is Son. All are Son by birth. We need to become Son realized. He came to manifest the Christ and show the love of God and the power of love over matter and over matter of the earth, which we saw many times. The healings, the manifestations of the food. He would disappear, he would reappear. The text, any text you pick up is full of the healings and workings of Jesus. And he said, the Christ in you will be formed in you as it is in me. It will be formed, it will be expressed, it will mature, it will grow so it can express through you as it expresses through me. Christ is our spirit within, where we are the children of God. And when that spirit within expresses, We are living the life He guided us to live. Very simple recap, yes? Everybody knows and understands it. Here's where we as Christians get a little tripped up, so I wanted to go over this year. He said, this is important. He said, I give my life in willing sacrifice for the sons of men. Now, historically, we've defined that as denying self. We've defined that as throwing our lives on some altar and denying who we are so someone else can benefit. We've defined that so many ways. Yes? Now we want to look at what he meant energetically. When he said, I give up my life for the sons of men, he is saying, I am going to sacrifice all that matters in this outer world for the value of the spirit of my brother men, for their spiritual value. I love my brothers more than my own need to flourish in the earthly sense. I love my brothers more than my need to prosper in an earthly sense. Not more than my needs to breathe or eat or have food, but my need to be attached to this earth plane. I love the spirit of my brother more than that. Y'all with me on that? Okay. He said, I am Savior of the world. It is best that not a power of heaven or earth come to my defense. By non-resistance, I will show them how to love. By non-resistance. By saying to the world, what you have and what you are threatening to take away from me means nothing to me. The spiritual energy of my brothers and my life exceed that in value. Does that make sense? All right. I wanted to bring it home to us for just a second. Do you realize that tyranny cannot exist without helpers? A tyrant does not have enough arms and legs to create a tyranny unless there are people who align with that tyrant. And how they do it is there is a physical payoff greater than their love for mankind. Do you hear me? There is a physical payoff greater than their love for mankind. In my experience as a counselor, I've counseled many people, and you all may align with this. This may be part of your story as well, who have come to me and said, I work in a company where I'm amply paid, extremely blessed. The benefits are outrageous. But I am being asked to watch while my company disregards others, acts with a moral judgment against people, and in fact, borderline and may actually break laws. My company hurts and harms my fellow employees and the world around me. Yet I'm amply paid and amply satisfied. And you know what every one of them said? I have to go. I can't be paid to watch my brothers hurt. I can't be paid to participate in something that is a detriment to the brothers in the world. And they would all leave their jobs with no job in sight. But their needs would be met. And not one person who exited under those conditions, not one person's exit helped anybody they were worried about. But it helped all of mankind. Because the love of my brothers exceeded my need to excel in the earth plane. Do you hear me? Can you resonate with that within you? Now let's amp that up 1,000 times. The love of my brothers exceeds the love of my brothers, and knowing their spirit, knowing they're children of God, knowing they've forgotten, exceeds any fear I might have of this earth plane. Of what you're going to do to me, of what you're going to say to me, I don't care. The love I have for that greater idea is where I'm going to stand. So we can feel our little world. Now can you feel his bigger world? I give my life in willing sacrifice, not to die for my brothers, but to stand and show them the way to their spirits. Do you know it's easier to die for a cause than to live for one? Do you realize that? Because then you don't have to deal with it. Then you don't have to live every single day what you believe. You can die for what you believe. That is not what he did, because he came back and lived. Do you see? So the sacrifice he made was to turn their eyes to spirit. Say, okay, this is not important. Nothing they're saying to you is important. What is important is you are spirit. You're God's child. And then he went on to do the demonstration. He was going to show them they were the eternal children of God. They were Christ. They were spirit. The world would see, not just his followers. And the whole stage had been set. So I want to read you, this is from the Aquarian, and I wanted to read just a few of the little verses. There are chapters and chapters of the Passover supper, Gethsemane, to the trials, to the crucifixion. So I just wanted to pick out a few verses just to remind us. So this is 164, chapter 5. And this is when Jesus is at Gethsemane, and he has done the meditation, and all the disciples are there, and they're going, okay, what's next? And these people come, and they're armed. You guys don't realize that, but they have arms, the swords. And that's unusual. And they say, who do you seek? And Jesus said, here I am. And he raised his hands with a mighty thought. He brought the ethers to the stage of light, and the orchard was aglow with light. And everyone was afraid. And those that came to him fell back in fear. Do you think he did that consciously, or just because he was answering the call? We don't know. But don't you think that showed the people he was greater than they thought? So they asked again, after they'd calmed down, we came to find Jesus. And he calmly said to them, here I am. And he allowed himself to be arrested. He went into the trial the Jews presented for him, and this was long and lengthy, and there were many people who said, well, he did this and that. And a man named Nicodemus, which you're familiar with, was his lawyer. And Nicodemus skillfully tore apart every single accusation until there was nothing that they could accuse him of. And Caiaphas said to him, because he was angry at this point, Caiaphas was the priest, before the living God I now command, you shall answer me. Are you the Christ, the Son of God? And Jesus said, if I would answer yes, you would not hear, and nor would you believe me. If I would answer no, I would be like your witnesses, and a liar in the sight of man. But this I will say, the time will come when you will see the Son of Man upon the throne of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. And Caiaphas rent his clothes and said, have you not heard enough? Do you not hear the words this vile, blasphemous man says? Do we need witnesses? He is calling himself the Son of God. And for that, he was condemned. Because he is proclaiming he is Son of God. Jesus went to Pilate. Pilate said, why don't you talk? Come on, you talk so well. Why don't you just tell them? Tell them, so we don't have to go through this. And Jesus said, why should I plead before an earthly court? The charges have been verified by perjured men. What need I say? I am king, but carnal men cannot behold the king, nor see the kingdom of God. It is within. If I had been king, as carnal man is king, my servants would have stood in my defense, and I would not have willingly surrendered to the Jewish law. I have no testimony for the sons of men. God is my witness. My words and deeds bear witness to the truth. And every man who comprehends and will hearken to my words in his soul will give witness to them. And that's when Pilate washed his hands and said, I find no fault in him. But as the story played out, we know the Jewish people, with Herod's guards, Herod the Jewish Roman governor, proceeded with the crucifixion. When he was on the cross, it said, at the 6th hour of the day, the sun was at the height, and it became dark as night. In the 9th hour there was an earthquake. A flood of light appeared, and from the light a voice said, "It is done." And Jesus said, "My Father God, into thy hands I give my soul." The earth shocked again. Jerusalem rocked to and fro. The temple quivered, and the veil between the sanctuary and the holy space was torn in half, and everyone was afraid. And a Roman guard who watched the body on the cross exclaimed, "Surely this was the Son of God who died." And then they carried him to his tomb. The ladies were all there. And because of the story that Jesus had told his followers for the last year, he said, "I will be crucified and I will arise on the third day." That was a story that was being shared among his people. And because of that, the Romans put guards at the tomb. They put a big stone over it and they put guards at it. And in 172 it tells us that at midnight the guards were watching. Everything was well. And suddenly there was a blaze of light, and a troop of white-clad soldiers marched in single file. They came to the tomb and they marched and countermarched before the door. And the Jewish soldiers were alert and they tried to fight them, but no one fell. These were spirit. It was the White Brotherhood, the Silent Brotherhood. And they went away, and then the next morning they appeared again. They heard a voice that said, "Adon Moshe Kumi," which is Lord Christ arise. And an angel came, tore the Roman seal, and moved the stone. The soldiers saw into the tomb, and they watched as Jesus opened his eyes and said, "All hail the rising sun, the coming of the day of righteousness." He folded up his burial ground, laid it on the side. He rose for a moment and stood beside the white-robed form. The soldiers fell upon the ground and hid their faces. They saw the body of the Nazarene transmute. They saw it change from mortal to immortal form, and then it disappeared. And the soldiers heard a voice from everywhere saying, "Peace, peace on earth, goodwill to men." And that was quite the demonstration, wasn't it? To actually be able to witness a human body go through a death experience and actually be dead for several days. To see and witness the angelic beings come and lift the physical stone from its place, and then to see a human body rise up and become spirit. I mean, if you had been there, could you have taken it in? If we saw it today, could we take it in? This is the one event where we can actually see God and man as one. The beautiful energy of spirit moving through that scene and into Jesus and quickening his energy to Christ and rising his awareness so a new body could be formed. How out of our consciousness is that very message? I mean, think about it. Metaphysical. Metaphysical. It is the most metaphysical of occurrences that we know. This is beyond the realm of our physical mind to understand. To have spirit actually come in and physically resurrect that which has been killed. So, the origin of the word Easter actually means dawn. I thought that was very beautiful. A dawning of a new awareness. I know it was named after some goddesses and stuff, but the origin of their name was dawn. The dawning of a new awareness. So, what do you do with this? I mean, what do you do with this information? The fact that the Spirit of God transcends even matter. Matter of what I have, my power, my authority, but matter of my body, matter of the earth. What do you do with this? So what we've done is we said, okay, Jesus, you're the only one. We're going to put you on a way high pedestal. And we're going to say, you showed us that there was God, and we're going to leave it at that. And aren't we comfortable with that? We're going to leave you up on the pedestal. You showed us that God exists. Great, thank you. And when I die, I'll chat with you more about it. But he didn't say to do that. He said, everything I do, you shall do in greater. Everything I do, you shall do in greater. One of my favorite scriptures is 176:14. I'll read that for you. I brought immortality to light and painted on the walls of time a rainbow for the sons of men. And what I did, all men shall do. And he said this when he came back after the ascension. All men shall do. So, as children of God, how do we start doing this? How do we let the dawn of this awakening come into where we are in consciousness? How do we start claiming that my light is important? My needs are going to be met, but my light is important. My eternal spirit is important. Everyone can do what he did. We do not need to lose our physical lives to Christ. We need to claim our spiritual lives right here, right where we are. This is how we Christ. You know, I tell you guys a lot. I talk with people on the other side that have already died. And the first thing they want to do is come back. Put me back. I didn't understand. I want to try that again. I need to do better next time. I want my eyes open next time. I'm going to do better next time. And they're all ready to come back, to have another experience, to try to stay awake. Don't you think every single soul that was born said, okay, I'm going to stay awake, I'm going to stay awake, I'm going to stay awake? Oh. You know? And the world starts teaching us, and the world starts telling us what's important, and we don't stay awake. When you think about it, I don't think there's a person in this room, or they can hear my voice, that wouldn't give any material possession to help someone they love. They wouldn't think twice about it. But could we take on the mindset that we love everybody, that we want all of us, all of our activity to be an investment in the spiritual life of us all, that we love everybody. We don't have to lose our matter, but we don't have to gain matter to hurt anyone. If we are eternal, and you know you are eternal, and you know you are spirit, how different would your choices be right here, right now? Would they be different? Or if you believe this is all there is, oh gosh, it's just another day, it's all there is, now what do I choose? Well, I'm going to try to satisfy the whiny person within me. Jesus broke the energy of human struggle and opened our awareness to divine love. He did not say you have to struggle to Christ. He broke the energy of struggle and opened the path to divine love. If you know you are eternal, and if you know you are spirit, how would you really live? What would you choose to experience? If you know you are eternal and you know you are spirit. That's the gift he brought us. And I believe that in the next 2,000 years, I have hope that we will have mastered this to such a degree that our physical bodies will actually heal themselves instantaneously because we have no need for disease. That we will all live in a beautiful world where we're creating and loving and supporting one another, and the idea of win-win will be a reality. If I win, everybody wins. If you win, I win. We can truly lift our awareness to create a reality that functions at that Christed consciousness. And then we don't have to prove we're the Christ or by healing people. There'll be no one to heal. We can express that Christed consciousness through our creations of love. Doesn't that sound like a great world? Would you like to live there? Jesus came with this great demonstration to open our awareness and to open a literal energetic connection to God. That's our gift, and we get to live there. So let's go ahead and take that within right now. All right, let's take a breath. God, we open to you. We ask that your love just flow through us all. And I would invite each one of you just to see a beautiful column of light come over you. Just to create a sacred space for you. Totally unaware of the person to your right or left, front or behind. Just feel a sacred space. Let your focus go to your heart. And just in your own heart, just say the word love. That's good. I am love. And as you feel love, feel God. And if you can, if you're willing, welcome in the presence of Jesus the Christ. Just see him standing by your side as your brother, as the way shower, as your elder brother. Feel the love that he has for you. And you know that love is for all mankind. And you really don't have to have a plan in this moment. You can choose to lift up. I choose to resurrect my energy field into a higher frequency just by letting God's love move into me now. Feel the love of the Christ. Feel your desire to be greater love. I know I am spirit, and I let God love move through me greater. And just feel the energy of the heart coming into harmony and peace. There's only love. And send gratitude to Jesus Christ for opening the path for us so we can follow. Feel yourself surrounded by your guides and angels. And feel that you are now ready to step out, renewed and filled with light. Father, Mother God, we are your children. And this day we claim consciously, we claim that we are the Christ, child of God. And if you feel comfortable saying that, please say, I am child of God.
I am child of God.
And can you say, I am the Christ?
I am the Christ.
And I thank you, God. Take a breath. Feel your feet on the floor. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Was it hard to say I'm the Christ?
No.
We would all be hauled into court and condemned. But if we believe we are the Christ and we act it and we walk it and we live it today, because he was here, because he teaches, because he connects us, no man can haul you into court. The light has taken hold. And we are strong, and God's love is strong. You ready? Say, yea, God.
Yeah.